being able to see what is possible and not be burdened by other people's limited ability to see the same. You cannot ever be burdened by other people's limited ability to understand who you are. Like, don't let their limited ability burden you about your own ability. I know that the children of the community are the children of the community. Thank you, and much. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
And I'm not going to actually drink this because I might fall asleep, and I need to do this
I don't want you
with
to fall
Barack
asleep.
Obama this afternoon.
We don't want you to fall asleep.
So here we are. Cheers to everybody.
Kamala Harris just did the Club Shay Shay podcast with Shannon Sharpe, and no surprise, it did not go well at all. And the audience, us viewers, people that have looked at it, not only are seeing through that, seeing how bad it actually went despite her efforts to try to pander to voters, especially the black community. But most voters didn't even watch it and just jumped straight to the comments because they are so sick of her BS. It's CeanDaniel here. If you guys enjoy the videos, consider subscribing or supporting me down below with a super thanks. We're going to go through some of the clips from this episode and see that Kamala really doesn't know what she's doing and how bad it was and how shameful it was for Shannon Sharpe to do this for her, but he probably won't have Trump on. What do I mean about people not liking it? Well, it was released 15 hours ago, okay, and it's at 99,000 dislikes and 36,000 likes. Just for context, in 12 hours when this got released, she had 62,000 dislikes, 31,000 likes. Trump, right now, has 1.8 million likes a few days after the Joe Rogan podcast and 39,000 dislikes. You know, the dislikes, likes, okay, it's not everything, but it's also a way for viewers to be able to express their opinion without any ramifications. Okay, views are not even close either. 10 hours ago, 600K views. And within 24 hours, he had 21 million views on YouTube. Yes, Joe Rogan is at a different platform level than Shannon Sharpe, but still, it just shows you again how unpopular she is. Before we get into the clips of this interview, let's see what people are saying right down in the comments. Who else paused and ran straight to the comments? Because that's exactly what I did. As soon as I saw that this was posted this morning, I went to see the likes and dislikes, and then I went right to the comments. I think more people showed up for the comments section than the actual interview. The real MVP is Shannon's team for not turning off the comments. Shannon, congratulations for breaking a record for the most non-watched straight to the comments video in Club Shay Shay's history. Now, is this a unique thing for Kamala to deal with? No, it's not. When she did her podcast town hall thing with Charlemagne, we'll see that, again, 54,000 dislikes to 17,000 likes. When she tried to pander to the black community with another sports podcast, boom, 83,000 dislikes. She was getting wrecked. And it's the same in this interview. So let's jump through some of these clips as she's looking so desperate in the last days before the election.
Well, so I'm really glad you brought that up, Shannon. So first of all, let's clear up certain myths.
Okay.
You know those checks that went out?
Yes. Those skimmies?
Right. Right.
Stimulus check.
Yeah, I know. Well, right. Yes. Yes.
We got to be for stimulus, but they call them stimmies. Okay.
The reason those came about is because there was a Democratic majority in the House of Representatives and Congress. Mm-hmm. People like Maxine Waters, people like Hakeem Jeffries, right?
Yes.
Who did the work of pushing to say, people need help right now and we need to send out checks. There was a whole lot of opposition to it, including from Donald Trump's White House.
Yes, even him. I think he was resistant to it at first.
Yes. That's why those checks, remember, Congress holds the purse.
Yes.
So really, Congress wrote those checks. But then Donald Trump, unlike any president before or after, decided he'd put his name on those checks.
So therefore, people thought
Donald Trump gave me that check. And so let's clear that up.
Even if that's where the credit is due, does the Democrats really want the credit because of how that has directly caused such cost of living and inflation, because the government was just basically printing and giving out money, and especially the way it got abused by so many. And then it caused most people not want to go back to work, which could then rise prices even higher. So is she really proud of that? But no, she's trying to claim that, trying to take a shot at the myth, the idea that Trump had a good economy, which he did.
if you were to become president, what measures would you put in place to make sure Social Security benefits continue? Because there are reports that it could possibly be depleted by 2033. And there are estimated that 11,000 people turn at least 65 years of age every single day.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to make sure, because that, people, disabilities, retirement, survivors with beneficiaries, what are you going to do to make sure that that continues?
So, Shannon, to your point, there was an independent economic review of Donald Trump's plan, which shows that Social Security in the next 6 years would be insolvent under his plan, meaning that it would not be able to pay out what hardworking people who deserve dignity in their retirement deserve. And as you and I both know, there are a lot of our seniors who their only source of income is that Social Security check.
That's correct.
Right? It's the only way they're going to pay the rent or have food on the table. So my plan is about doing what we need to do to put the resources back into Social Security, but also expanding it. Because here's part of the problem with Social Security is that for our aging seniors, if they are a couple, for example, and one of the spouses passes, that cuts their Social Security benefits almost in half. So part of my plan is to reconfigure it so that that surviving spouse does not then have a crisis where they've already lost their loved one.
She is the one continually who just wants to pour more money into things, just like what she tried to take credit for before with these stimulus checks. Pour more government money into things to solve people's problems, not raise the value of our economy and help people actually do better by maybe some tax cuts, by maybe getting more businesses into the United States. No. We're just going to give, which is just going to keep extending this inflation problem down the line and keep screwing us over with our cost of living. It does not make sense. And for Shannon Sharpe to not push back, and just be like, yeah, okay. He's not that well versed in it, or he's just trying to, placate to Kamala Harris, which is not surprising.
Just have to understand, on a macro level, we've got to require that billionaires and corporations pay their fair share, right? They can afford to. And that's part of what is the difference between me and Donald Trump. My plan is about tax cuts for small businesses, for working people, for middle-class people. 100 million Americans will benefit around tax cuts. My plan is that no taxes will be raised for anybody making less than $400,000 a year. My plan is that we give young parents a $6,000 child tax credit to help them pay for child care, for a crib or a car seat, because you and I both know the vast majority of our young parents have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not always the resources. And back to the way I was raised, I know that the children of the community are the children of the community. That you and I will benefit from that young family having the resources they need.
Something to observe is how she tries to emphatically give this emotional, motivating statements like she is a Barack Obama, but she doesn't have the oomph behind it. She doesn't have the conviction. She just doesn't have it. It's like when someone who's really insecure tries to act confident, and so they become super cocky, and it just feels disingenuous. That's how it is to me when I hear her going on and on like this, and trying to give this force of, children of the community and people matter. And, it just doesn't come across with power because she doesn't have, it's just empty words. Trump could say the same thing with half as much emotion and it would have twice as much impact because it's genuine. It comes from a place of fortitude, of strength. And this is something we can observe with a lot of politicians, how they try to placate with these like motivating, exciting words, but there's no substance behind them, which is one of the reasons her likes and dislikes is so high.
Access to health care is a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. That's why I am in favor of and have pushed and been a leader on capping the cost of insulin at $35 a month. And why I intend to allow Medicare to actually negotiate against the big pharmaceutical companies to bring down the cost of prescription medication for everybody. That's why I have fought for what we need to do around making sure Medicare covers senior care. Access to health care should not be a question of how much money you have in your back pocket. That's just not right. And I feel strongly about that.
Do you guys actually trust her to allow proper negotiations to go on with, pharmaceutical companies and all that? First of all, pharmaceutical companies are so evil. So to act like it's this great thing to allow them to negotiate and be in the free market. Okay, first of all, yes, okay, we want free markets, but second of all, do you even trust her to have proper negotiations go on without back-end deals that benefit her and don't benefit us? And I'm waiting for Mr. Shannon over here I know I zoomed it in, I have to push back, He's Mr. Yes Man, yes man. It's a big opportunity for him, which is so funny. It's so funny, okay? Because this is not even that big of a thing for him to do. Yes, he could say he interviewed a presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, a VP. But for his podcast, for his viewers, which that is the people that he serves, he's not really serving them. People do not even want to see this. Okay, in 16 hours, he has 800,000 views on YouTube. Everybody in the comments is roasting him. But yet, you'd think something that wouldn't be as big a deal. I'm sure he felt more big of a deal for interviewing Kamala than he did Cat Williams, who has 81 million views after 9 months. Do I think in 9 months that this interview with Kamala Harris is going to have 10 million views, 5 million views? No. So he probably made this a huge deal in his mind to do this interview and how amazing it is, and yet it really isn't, because she's so disingenuous. And I'm waiting for him to push back. Do we think he's going to? No.
Being able to see what is possible and not be burdened by other people's limited ability to see the same. You cannot ever be burdened by other people's limited ability to understand who you are. Don't let their limited ability burden you about your own ability.
Look at Shannon Sharpe with the nod-a-thon. Right, yeah, so true, so emphatic. That's what I'm talking about. When you don't have substance behind what you say, it does not matter how many times you repeat it. It does not matter how much emotional veracity you try to include. If there's no substance, even if everyone around you, the media, your supporters, your media supporters, your liberal supporters, your people in power, no matter how much they try to create this facade around us that she is powerful, when there's no substance, if you're a thinking person, you can see if there is substance or not. You can see if there's substance or not in what she's saying, even if everyone around us is trying to tell us, right, like Shannon, that's amazing.
Don't let their limited ability, other people's limited ability to understand who you are.
Right.
Don't let their...
Right. Oh, yeah.
When we have guests come on, Madam VP, we like to toast. And what I read on this card, you don't deserve this, you earned this. Being the first in so many areas. And you make us proud. I just want you to know you make us proud for what you've been able to accomplish. And we're 12 days away, and we hope you have an even greater accomplishment. So here's to continue success in everything you've done and everything that you will do.
Oh, bless you, and thank you. And to you, Shannon, to you for all the success and the voice you give to so many issues. Thank you for that.
Thank you very
And
much.
cheers to you.
Cheers.
And I'm not going to actually drink this because I might fall asleep, and I need to do this
I don't want you to
with
fall
Barack
asleep.
Obama this afternoon.
We don't want you to fall asleep.
So here we are. Cheers to everybody.
Okay, a lot of Republicans will criticize that. I think that's actually a wise move. Why would you start sipping drinks on a podcast when you're supposed to be a presidential candidate? That's one of the issues I have with some of these commentators. They just want to take anything that happens like, oh my God, she's so dumb, so dumb. It's wise to not take a sip of alcohol on stream like that. As a presidential candidate, you represent so much. But what is bad is how our buddy Shannon tries to, again, sit there and kiss up to Kamala Harris because of the powers that be and people behind certain companies that he wants to get a part of. He said one of his goals with one of his shows is to get it mainstream, get a big contract behind it. So if that's his sole purpose, his sole driving goal that he's willing to do anything for, he's going to sit there and kiss her ass, really. And it's more eye-opening into the quality mind, the amount of quality, the type of mindset, mentality, thinking ability. It's so indicative of the type of mindset that a man has that is supposed to be real, that's supposed to be a football player, a Hall of Famer, super successful, that he can't even see the low value of Kamala Harris as not only like a business owner, but as a leader of free people, not only in any country, but in the most powerful country in the world. And it's amazing the continual brainwashing we're supposed to get exposed to by these people that we're supposedly supposed to trust, like Shannon Sharpe. Like, oh man, he says so many great things on his podcast. Yeah, it makes sense. And then they go around and promote someone like this. And you can think, wow, am I even like thinking properly? I don't know. Am I? I really don't know. Because, he says a lot of good points. But that's why you have to evaluate everything as it is separately. Okay, what's going on? Why is he promoting this woman when he seems so sound and logical in other situations? It's something we have to keep our mind sharp on when we have these people we look up to in the media, online, so that we don't get manipulated into believing some ridiculous thing, supporting some ridiculous person that then damages our quality of life in our country. We always gotta stay sharp. And one way we can do that is by not sipping alcohol on live podcasts. I gotta give her, that was actually a wise move. The rest of it, no. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. It's Sean Daniel here, and I'll see you in the next one.